Hey guys, we're going to be looking at some mod tips when modding for hytale. Currently, if we look at hytale, if we look at the game, we can look at our couple of weapons I made. We have a Eterna battle axe, which is like a very strong battle axe that heals you. If we look at our Eterna claws, it has a power up frost strike. Whenever it hits something, it does a lot of frost damage. You also gain a lot of movement speed. You also gain increased stamina stuff, so it's a pretty strong pair of gloves. Yeah, I'm gonna be showing you guys how to alter like weapons stats and all that fun stuff. So first thing, we're gonna go to the asset editor. If you don't know what asset editor is, I would recommend watching another video before finishing this. Alright, and now that we have the asset editor open, we can go down here and look at some things that I have already done. So whenever you're trying to create anything in hytale, a lot of the stuff is already created. So, for example, this pair of gloves that I have, I didn't create everything for it. I didn't tell it, I want you to have one attack, I want you to have this amount of attack speed. I didn't set all those properties. It was already set from my base item. So, with hytale, easy way to create an item is just by copying the already existing items. So, at the very top, we see that we have hytale, or our RPG. If we go down here to let's say weapons, no, let's go down to item, and then we're gonna go down to item, and then we're gonna go down to weapon. And let's say we wanted to create, I don't know, I already have a pair of daggers, I already have a battle axe. Let's say I wanted to create a sword, just a basic sword. Now there are a couple things you can do. You can go ahead and copy like a rare material, or we could just take this template weapon sword. Now this is something you will do a lot, and I would just recommend getting used to the button. I clicked on this template weapon sword, and this button up over here, override asset, it's not gonna like replace the asset inside of like the game folder. It's gonna create a new asset that you're gonna override. It's gonna be your asset at that point. So you see how it's recommended me to do a template weapon sword. Well, let's go ahead and name it an Eterna weapon sword, because that's the resource that my mods use. Okay. And now that we have this weapon sword, we can do all sorts of things to it. So for right now, let's just keep it as the same model as it is. I'll have to create an image for that later. So we're not gonna go through rendering. We're not gonna go through any of that. We're gonna go into crafting if we want to change the recipe. We're going to go to interactions if we want to mess with anything like the primary attack, the secondary attack, or the ability. Now remember what I said earlier. When there is this is referencing a root interaction, which is a interaction a part of the base game. And what did we just do with the weapon that came from the base game? We overrid it and basically added it to our mod pack. So we are going to do the same thing for this, because we're going to want to, let's say we want to edit the primary attack. So we're going to take this, we're going to click this little folder icon, it's going to bring it up in a new tab, and then we're just going to overwrite the asset, and we're going to change this to Eterna. And once we create that, now we have the interactions, and we could change the cooldown at which we attack now. But that's not what I really want to do. Sure, it's cool and fun and all. Let's go ahead and change that to 0.15. But we also need to, it's referencing another interaction here. So we're going to have to click this folder icon and override asset. And we're going to do Eterna weapon sword primary. Cool. Now, that eternal weapon sword, whenever I clicked on it and we changed this out, we have to remember to go back and set it. So remember we just overwrit that. It was still using the thing that we were overriding. We have to make sure that we go back and put hours in there. Now this is when it gets kind of, there's a lot of stuff, right? So if we look, there's not really much to do up here. The only thing that we see that's like changed is it says it's charging. So let's explain to what, at least what I think these mean. So we go down here to next, and key 0, whenever we're in any of these like sword primary attacks, 0 means like you hold the mouse button for like 0 seconds, so it's literally a click. 0.2 is if you have held the mouse button for over 0.2 seconds. So after that, it's going to realize, hey, this guy's trying to thrust, and it's going to cost stamina. So that's all that means up here. This is checking to see if the stamina condition is right, and if we wanted to change that, then we would have to override it. But for right now, let's just change the primary chain, right? Let's say if we go into hytale, this is our template weapon, right? So if you look at it, it has signature energy plus 20, and it doesn't have a name. It's all kinds of different things. But what we're looking at right now is we're looking at the primary attack. So this is the chain. This is the chain that we found earlier. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So there's 3 attacks in it, right? So if we go back, access the editor, and we go to the eternal weapon, and we look at this weapon sword primary chain. Let's go ahead and override it and make it the eternal sword primary chain. Alrighty, so it has 3 attacks. So we go down to the next. It's chaining, so it's like a chaining ability, and there is 3. So if we want to change anything here, such as like the first swing, we would have to go here and edit the swing left. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and do default value interactions, sword primary swing left. So we're going to open the asset, override it, eternal sword, swing left. Cool. See, and look, the cool thing I really like about this is if we change anything right here, it's already available. So I'm going to explain to you guys how damage works in this, especially with the weapons, how I've seen at least. So each damage type, if you want to look over here at the ones that I've already coded, where is the battle axe? There it is. So if we look at the battle axe, for example, we see that we have a selector and we have damage for this down strike, right? And for this swing, we also have a damage thing. So every time that we like want to hit something, the game needs to find out like what it hits. It needs a selector. It needs to be able to select that entity. So with that, we are going to overwrite this selector, and we're going to go with the eternal sword primary swing. And now the selector is finally detecting what it's hitting. So if it hits an entity, it's going to reference weapon sword primary swing left damage, which I was saying earlier. You see how I needed a selector and damage for this battle axe? Well, we're going to need to, you would have never guessed it, we're not actually going to override it because that's not going to work. So let's try to override it just so you guys see. Let's go with the eternal sword primary swing. Now, if we go over here, there's nothing. It won't let me do anything. And I am going to delete it now, so it doesn't mess anything up. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here and grab my, it doesn't really matter, but I'm going to use my lunge damage. So remember how I said earlier the game needs a selector to select the entity and everything like that? Well, once it's already selected that entity, you don't really need you don't really need a specific type of way to tell it how it's taking damage. This game already has a damage entity interaction. So we just need to talk to that, right? So what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna copy this file that I'm using for my clause, and I'm just going to copy it and just duplicate it. All right. So real quick, since I didn't cover it, and after editing, I can see that there's a big large gap. If we go in our asset editor and we go over to the hytale and we search for damage up here, we can see if we scroll down to like non-NPC things, let's say we just go to the daggers, swing left, you see how these aren't like, you just keep going through these until you find one that's not like, yeah, here for example, we get this one, so we could just overwrite this asset and then name it a any damage one. This damage thing works for any kind of damage you do through the game. Your selectors are going to be what targets each of these, so they should be named based on what the selector is. So if the selector is the left hit, then this should be the left damage, and just duplicate it, right? So we're going to do Eterna, sword, swing, left, damage. Cool. It's going to put it in the wrong place. I'll fix that. There we go. So we need to continue off where I left off. So we're going to go over to the selector, and we are going to go all the way down to the default value, interactions, 0. And we're going to change this to our damage one, the one that we just made. And we're going to change it to our damage one. Now that our damage is here, we can go over here to our sword, or wherever our damage is. And now we can effectively change how much damage we do. So if we change this 28 to, I don't know, 15, and we go over here and we start hitting something, okay, it's not gonna work because I didn't set everything else up. Completely forgot. All right, so remember that if you don't set your stuff up, it's not gonna work. So that includes the chain. So I have to go over here and set up this chain with mine. Turn the sword primary chain, and then we go over here to the primary chain. We go to primary swing left. We're gonna change that to the Eterna sword, swing left. Cool. And now we got to go to this and set its selector. Nice. And I've already got the damage in there. Alright, and once you get everything set and you get all of these like pointing at each other, you gotta make sure you go through all of them and make sure that they're using your overwritten ones and not like the base game ones. Even if you're missing like one of them, it will like not let you do anything. So now if we hit with the sword, the first strike will do 15 damage. The second and third strike won't do anything because we haven't set up that to the damage thing yet. Next up, we're going to look at the we're gonna look at the flow of which this goes. So if we look at the Eternal Weapon Sword here in our item weapon category, we can see its primary attack and the interactions section. And the interactions section is by far like one of the most strongest things a modder can mess with right now. It's very strong. It allows you to reference different pieces of information to do different things. That's exactly what you want to do whenever you're modding, right? So we need to make sure the primary is, we have a overwritten asset, and we're just going to open that. Now what this is doing is, this is basically queuing up the weapon strike, right? Seeing how long it takes for it to go, so you can't just spam it. Let's just go with point 1. Now let's go to the Eternal Sword primary. Let's go see what this does. So if we go down here to next, we can see at the very top it's type charging. So this is like to dictate whether or not it's going to be a charge attack or not. And if the player just clicked the button and didn't hold it down, it's just going to start the primary chain. And if they did hold it down, it's going to check to see if they have enough stamina and do the interaction. We could also change this. I'll save like that for our next video. Actually, you know what? I'll just do it right now. So we're going to overwrite this real quick. Override. And we're going to change this to Eterna Sword primary thrust. Cool. And now we go to here. Next, you see it's changing a stat. This is the stamina condition, so it's probably going to be lowering the stamina. Let's go all the way down. This is the primary thrust. This is what it activates, so we're going to want to override this as well. This is going to be the Eterna weapon thrust. And now, if we go on over to our thing here, we see that the Eterna primary thrust, it references a weapon sword primary chain, which is not what we're using. We're using the Eterna sword primary chain. Now, what this is saying is that if the player does not have 0.65 seconds of charge time for the ability, then we're going to reference this instead. So instead of, let's say, showing you that, let's just show you in game. So if I hold this down, if I hold it down for 0.65 seconds, it's going to complete the action and do the next thing, right? But if I don't fully charge it, it's just going to begin the primary chain of the weapon, the basic weapon thing, which, keep in mind, is not ours. We gotta change that. So let's go back to the editor. So we're going to change this to our one. Eternal Weapon Sword primary. No, not primary. We're going to go with chain. Primary chain. Alright. I actually don't know what this 0 and 0.65 means. I'm just making an assumption. But let's go ahead and look at all this other code they got here. I keep in mind, I haven't actually looked at this yet. This is all like just me looking at it. These are very similar to the other ones though that I worked on. What effect is it applying? Oh, stamina, a broken immune. Okay. So that's what locks it. Gotcha. And there's the cost. So if you want it to be like less cost. So I don't think I have this hooked up in the chain, right? Primary thrust, where's that at? Yeah, let's go ahead and set all this up so it works. And now the thrust stamina cost, cool. Replace, regen delay. Okay, we don't really need to mess with that. Oh, this is a fun one. So, with the battle axe, there was something called the battle axe force, and that was really fun to play with. So let's play with that. Let's play with this. So we go to Eterna. We create an Eterna. thrust force. Let's go ahead and change this to our one so we don't have to do it later. There we go. And now, if we if we make this like 55 or something, let's make it something crazy. 75. Right? And let's turn this off. And then, oh my god, look how far you go. Ah. See, this is why I mod. This is you can play with this. Like, let's go up to 125. Let's go up to 150. 150. Let's double it. This is why I mod. This is so fun. This is so good. Let's go with. I'm gonna go with like 60-ish. Let's try 60. Let's see what 60 looks like. Okay, that's reasonable. We aim up. Yeah, that's reasonable. Cool. And let's go ahead and show this again. So we can also change the direction. So if we wanted to go up, we can actually do this. I'm kind of curious on what this is gonna do. If it's gonna send me into like the... I've went into the sky before and it was not fun. So let's try. Okay, so you just go slightly higher. The force doesn't send you as far. You could definitely like hurt yourself with this. Yeah, let's go ahead and I'm gonna put that back to 1 maybe. Let's just keep it 0. We're at 0.5 maybe? How's 0.5 look? There, that looks okay, right? Okay, we can just keep that. Alright, let's go ahead and open it back up on the screen. And let's play with some of the other stuff. Let's see what this is. Oh, so you can add another force. It's a duration. What? Oh, so this might be like a velocity kind of thing, where you can have like a duration of 15 force. I'm not sure what that's gonna look like. What the? Let's not do that. Let's go and get the selector and create another damage. Override. Name it Eterna. Cool. Hit entity. We're gonna need to create another damage thing. Let's just copy. Let's first off, since we're here, let's get rid of the explosion effect. And let's duplicate this. Go over here and switch this out. With the down damage. And now we can freely edit its damage. Cool. So, let's do something unique. The first strike did all physical, the second strike did half and half, and the third strike will do all poison. So let's go ahead and bump this up a little bit, because if they complete the combo, they get a little bit more damage. Not 35 though. Let's go with 26. So now, if I spawn a enemy, 15. Okay, I didn't set something up right, so let's go see. Alright, so we didn't So let's go hook everything back up. Make sure it's not referencing the wrong things. Yep, it's referencing. So now, if we go here, nice. So it all works. Now, we need to change the name if you want to give it some stats like this has or whatnot. We can. Let's go ahead and do that. So that's actually in the, it's not in the interaction section. This is the base. This is where you change its all the info. This is where you like hook everything up. Everything we just did was just the primary interaction. Keep in mind. Translation properties. So we're gonna go over here. We're gonna delete this. We're gonna do Eterna. Okay, we don't need to mess with anything right there until we get an image. Let's change the durability. I like to have high durability on my gear. This can definitely go up though. And we go over here to stat modifiers on the weapon category. And this is gonna be where we set our bonuses. So there's not much you can really like add just yet unless you create your own entity stat type. But let's say while we're holding this weapon, we want to have a little bit more stamina. We could do that here. So in the stat modifiers, we added a stamina category, and we're gonna go to calculation type additive, and we're just gonna see the base I think is like 10 stamina, so I'm gonna give the player 10 more. So now if we go over to the game and we switch off and on to our sword, you see how it's granting the stamina, and we can just hover over it to see that too. So, and now if we also hover over the sword, we can see that its name is weird. It's the thing we changed earlier. So in order to do that, we gotta leave out of this the game. All right. So if we go here to the world, we right click this, we can open the folder. It's a quick way to get there. And now once we click that button, it's gonna bring us here. We're gonna go into mods. We're gonna go into our mod folder. And then we are going to go to server. And if you do not have this folder, languages, you will need to create it exactly like how it shows. We're going to go in, and if you do not have this folder, you'll have to create it as well, exactly how it shows. And then we will need to create a file in here called server.lang. Cannot be a .txt file, it has to be a .lang file. And now once we open that, you will have a empty document, but I have a couple of items already, so mine has a couple of items. But for this, we're going to need to go back to our editor back here, and we will need to, so for translation properties, we're going to just copy this part. Go in here. We're going to go back to our text document now, and we're just going to paste that, and then equal. We're going to do Eterna sword. And if we wanted to give it a special description, we can do that as well. So let's copy that. And then we're just going to do a description equals does high poison damage and grants a large stamina buff. And now, since I didn't have that earlier, let's go ahead and do the description here. And now, remember to save. There we go. There we go. Cool. Now, next up, we are going to need to create, or if you already have a model for the weapon, you'll need to get that. Alright, now that we reloaded the game, our sword is here. This is our sword. The Eterna sword. Alright, so just a reference, because it was kinda... It did take a couple of reloads to make it work. All I did was I put the Eterna sword into the resources folder in our mod pack. Or our mod, rather. And... I chose a different blocky model, which is the way that the game renders the texture file, right? So if you put a wrong texture in there, it will render it wrong. So I liked the look of the Onyx sword, so I went ahead and got that and made it look a little different. Now that we've done this, we can go over to our icon. And we can edit this. Alright, once we set our icon, we should be just about good to go. Looks good. Everything's working right. Its name is in there. It has its stat modifiers. It has all that fun stuff. Yeah. In order to get its icon loaded, all we gotta do is click to the menu and go back in. And there it is. It's the icon. Let the game load. There we go. The sword is fully functional. It has stats, it has all that fun stuff. And the only thing we did not do for it is set up its crafting recipe, which we can go ahead and do. And now that we're in the editor, let's set up its crafting. So in order to craft or create this item, we're going to need a input or a couple inputs. So let's go ahead and get a couple of those. Go ahead and add a couple here, a couple items here. So liquid Eterna, we're gonna do 30. Life essence, I'm gonna do 30 of those. Lightning essence, we're gonna do 20 of those, and we're going to go ahead. We're gonna need a kind of resource like metal. Let's just do iron. Let's see what the thing for that is. It's ingredient bar iron. And the way I'm finding the names for this is I am just going into the creative menu, and I am just hovering over the thing that I want. So it says the ID ingredient bar iron. Be that. And I like to make people grind for things that are very strong. So I'm gonna do like 200, not 225. Let's do 200. 200 bars of iron. It is a basic resource that you can get plenty of. Alright, so we're going to go down to bench requirement, and we are going to be crafting at a weapon bench at least level 1. Alright, now we're going to go to the category section. We're going to do weapon underscore sword. And if we go into the blacksmith, it is now in the sword spot of the anvil. So click on it, we have all of our resources. Yeah, that is how you make a fully functioning weapon. To change its damage, alter some of its stats, mess with some of its features. I can also do more videos on like how to mod for hytale. I am learning the game as I go, or learning the how to mod it rather as I go. But yeah, if you like the video, then please like the video. If you made it this far, helps me a lot. It'll inspire me to make more videos. It just goes a long way. And if you want to subscribe, that would help a lot as well. Just starting a new modding channel, so hopefully it pops off. So I love doing this. So yeah, yeah. Thanks for watching. I will see you soon.